Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 2021 Boring Menswear Awards, the show where we humbly award those brave fashion brands who resolutely refuse to take any risks or step out of the box in any way, shape, or form. You've seen award shows before, and they all have problems. The Oscars tend to only award movies starring Meryl Streep and Guy Pearce. The Grammys call all music by black people rap for some reason. But here at the Boring Menswear Awards, we recognize that a lack of imagination can come from all corners of the industry. This year, we're going to be giving out a total of 5 awards, recognizing brands for all manners of yawn-inducing design. But first, let's go to our red carpet correspondent to interview me about my boring outfit. Hey, low luxury, over here. Oh, hey, hi. So tell me, who are you wearing? Well, I figured I would pay tribute to one of the kings of boring menswear. You don't mean... That's right, Giorgio Armani. Very impressive. I mean, he's been picking up boring menswear awards since his start in the 1970s. Wow, what a knowledgeable correspondent. Anyway, yes, I figured I'd wear the same thing that every male celebrity who hates dressing up wears to a red carpet event. Like the formal wear equivalent of a sigh. I love it. Well, low luxury, thanks for taking the time to talk to me, and now I'm gonna send it back to you on stage. Now, I think it's time to get into our first award. This one is an all-time classic, won in the past by brands like Coach, Ralph Lauren, and Cole Haan. Let's roll the tape. The Have You Ever Actually Sold Anything That Wasn't at Outlet Pricing Award. And the winner is Theory. Congratulations. Theory has been around since 1997, starting by selling stretchy pants, a very auspicious start for a global fashion brand. However, they didn't truly break into this category until 1999, when they added menswear. They have a flagship store in New York's Meatpacking District, which makes sense because the brand's approach shares many similarities with the factory farming industry. As in, they pump out endless product to satiate a confusingly large demand and also cause lots of unnecessary pain. Somehow, the brand still holds a reputation as a luxury company, despite the fact that their parent company is literally called fast retailing, so it's pretty clear where their loyalties lie. They're causing just as much damage as H&M, but charge 20 times more. But all of that is tangential to the real reason they won this award. They have a regular website, sure, but their stuff seems to just arrive there as a holding place for a few weeks until it's inevitably shuffled over to their outlet site, where it's finally priced at least slightly closer to what any right-minded consumer would actually pay for it. But there are tons of brands who have outlets, but not many of them can also be described as boring menswear, and Theory hits that target to a T. Maybe you want to cosplay as a Silicon Valley programmer. Well, they have just the plain ass hoodie for you. Maybe you want to look professional, but you're also a rebel, so you want to add in some stripes, the most rebellious of patterns. Well, Theory has that shirt 10 times over. Standard fit, of course. Slim fits and oversized fits are just too out there for the Theory customer. Perhaps you're the type who likes to hit a few golf balls around while talking business. Well, you're in luck because Theory stocks a number of plain quarter zip sweaters. I mean, you wouldn't want to have a full zip and risk showing your full beer belly that developed after your wife left you for a man that actually wears patterns. And the trousers. My God, the trousers. You could be the plainest of plain Janes. But this is boring menswear, pal. Let's call you Plain Jim. Well, Plain Jim, we've got plain cotton trousers, plain wool trousers, and even plain sweatpants. But make sure you get a dark color because they're sure to become your stained up beaters since they're just so darn forgettable. And the thing that really won them this award is that they do it all at cut rate prices. What, $200 for a button-up shirt? Are you crazy? Well, now it's $117, much better, and you're sure to find a promo code that'll work because they flood the internet with the damn things. Now, did they ever actually expect to sell that shirt for $200? Heck no, but now they're getting the price they always figured they would, and you're left with the impression that you got high fashion clothes at a steal of a price. So it's a win-win for boring menswear lovers everywhere. Congratulations once again to Theory, and let's hope we see them with the repeat win next year. And now, I think it's time for our next category. The Boring Menswear Posing as Luxe Streetwear Award. This is a tough category with so many contenders, and I've got to tell you, Fear of God was on the edge of winning this award, but their oversized fits keep them just interesting enough that I couldn't in good conscience label them boring menswear. Instead, the award goes to a.p.c. Everyone remembers Logo Mania, when you'd pay a $500 premium just to get a Burberry jacket with a hideous monogram all over it, or when you'd eat any number of babies for a big Balenciaga logo hoodie. But some brands, God love them, never learn that screen printing your logo on a top doesn't automatically make you interesting, especially when that name is an acronym that literally means Production and Creation Workshop. Even the name is forgettable, sounding more like a local charter school than a hip fashion brand. a.p.c. describes their look as minimalist, which is a common shield that boring brands hide behind, which we'll certainly get into more later. The thing these brands forget is that if you do things minimalist, they have to be cleaner than anything else out there, fit better than anything else out there, and find unique ways to add new twists to pieces without overpowering their minimalism. a.p.c. just coasts. They have a logo, as we've mentioned, which they clearly feel is far more meaningful than it is, given how often they plaster it on their clothes. They've even taken on the modern streetwear meta by diving headfirst into collaborations with other brands. They've teamed up with Carhartt, Braindead, Kid Cudi, and more, and yet they somehow managed to even boring the hell out of those far more exciting brands, taking the most basic and snoozeworthy of their visual motifs and blending them with their own. But look outside of their streetwear, and there's nothing to differentiate them from your everyday department store brand. They have plain knits, plain trousers and jeans, plain jackets and coats, and even plain sneakers and accessories. Some might call their aesthetic clean, and they do say that cleanliness is next to godliness. However, there's nothing heavenly about these looks, unless you consider a Target discount rack heavenly, and the maskless Karen barging past me in the aisle certainly begs otherwise. In the end, streetwear is about being bold, taking risks, not caring about what the quote-unquote professional world is wearing. But a.p.c. is as far from any of those things as a brand can get, and therefore the award goes to them. Congrats, and long may they reign. Now let's take a look at our next category. The Boring Menswear Posing as Minimalist Award. And the award goes to Vince. Yes, even the name is boring as hell, falling out of your mind as soon as it falls out of your mouth. And somehow, Vince is incredibly successful and well distributed worldwide. Go to any luxury mall, and squeezed in between your Gucci and Louis Vuitton and Prada stores will likely be a Vince outpost. Walk in and be prepared to be blinded by an endless sea of whites, grays, and muted earth tones. No color allowed here. I have to actually admit something. I once walked into a Vince store in Florida, and I was so disappointed by what I saw that I actually told the sales associate there that they needed more color, more interesting silhouettes, more patterns, as if there was anything she could do about it. Oh yes, random stranger, sir. I'll go straight to the creative director and tell them to change direction immediately. Anyway, Vince is somehow a highly respected brand. Each new collection is met by fawning write-ups in the fashion press about how Vince has just created your new minimalist staples for the season or some other nonsense. And that's really the crux of it right there, isn't it? Doing the same thing you've done year after year, in the same colors, the same cuts, gets forgiven under the guise of a minimalist aesthetic. And unlike some of our other awardees tonight, I can actually see the appeal of Vince. But something can be appealing and also boring as hell. I might need a new mattress, but that doesn't mean I'll end up at Raymore and Flanigan salivating over the latest Sleep Number models or whatever the heck they sell. Everyone should have clean pieces in their closet. Not everything you wear every single day can be flamboyant and extravagant, unless your name is Jeff Goldblum. But the greatest brands build a mythology around themselves, build up a cult of style over seasons and seasons. But Vince is the type of place you go when you need a coat to wear when you're trying not to be seen, and that doesn't cause anyone to become a fervent follower. Actually, come to think of it, Their clothes have a very cult-like look, so I may have spoken too soon. Their vibe is kind of guilty remnant in the leftovers, if you catch my vibe. So tonight we recognize Vince, the brand who is unafraid to put out these same looks in these same colors year after year, with a look that would fit perfectly in a modernist hotel lobby. Congrats to them. And now we need to take a moment to reflect. The past year was obviously a tough one with COVID-19, and there has been much suffering. But no one suffered more than the poor fashion industry. Therefore, let's take a moment to recognize the boring menswear brands we lost in the past year. In memoriam, Brooks Brothers, J. Crew, John Varvatos. Alright guys, I know award shows are usually 2 hours long, so let's not dilly-dally, let's wrap it up here. It's time to start talking about the high-end brands, because even the most expensive clothes can still be boring as hell. And it's time we recognize those brands for having the balls to charge someone $2,000 for the most boring pieces ever made. So let's look at our next category. The "you've got two head designers and you still can't come up with something interesting" award. Let me tell you guys, Jill Sander almost pulled out the win this year, but the everlasting glow of Raf Simons kept them from the trophy by just a hair. Instead, the award goes to The Row. Yes, the brand that's designed by the Full House twins turned fashion icons, the Olsen twins. Perhaps the color palette of that kooky 90s sitcom being such a neon technicolor daydream scared them off of color for life because they are incapable of making anything with any color at all. Their palette ranges from white to gray to brown to black, and if you want any patterns, you better fuck the fuck off because they're scared of those too. Actually, the Olsen twins look like they're scared of everything. Why are their eyes so big? Anyway, The Row, much like Vince, tends to make staple menswear pieces. And here's a little secret. In the fashion industry, staple is a code word for boring as shit. Anytime you hear something described as a staple piece, run far away because it's basically clothing rohypnol. So that means that they make knits, sweatshirts, blazers, trousers, again the stuff you could get at H&M for 20 bucks, or at The Row for $1,700? Are they out of their fucking minds? Really, did the scriptwriter fuck up? Where's my writer? Where the fuck are you? Dude, that's a zip-up hoodie. That doesn't cost $2,000. Don't fuck me here, man. I don't want to lie to my audience. Wait, for real? It really costs more than a new MacBook? For a zip-up? Fuck me. Okay, sorry guys. Yeah, apparently these pieces are made on a desert island by a long-extinct tribe of four-armed people before being flown to Los Angeles one by one on chartered jets, and that's why they cost so much. Actually, I have no fucking clue why they're so expensive, but they are. More power to them, make that paper, but the boringness shines through loud and clear. And with that, it's time for our final award of the night, and time to piss some people off. The Most Boring High Luxury Brand Award. There are some brands you just don't talk too much shit on. You know, Gucci, Louis, Fendi, Dior, they're just too important, too historically significant, and their fan bases are fucking rabid and will eat you alive. But I'm not afraid, so I'm here to give the Most Boring High Luxury Brand Award to Hermes. Yes, the brand of the Birkins also makes menswear, but you'd be forgiven for not knowing about it because it surprisingly has no hype whatsoever. But the status is still there. The question is what for? Unlike a lot of brands on this list, Hermes does look higher end than your typical boring fast fashion brand. The silhouettes are ever so slightly elevated. The fabrics look ever so slightly more luxe, but that doesn't mean they are actually doing something interesting with their clothing. You can go to Hermes and buy this jacket. It has an interesting design element, featuring a removable collar. The textiles look very nice, and it has a clear military/workwear design. However, there's nothing that actually grabs you. And it costs $11,000, so you better call your bank and start the paperwork for a second mortgage. And unlike just about every other brand we've honored tonight, Hermes do occasionally play with graphics and prints. But that alone doesn't make a brand interesting. I mean, Denim and Flower does a shitload of prints, but that doesn't make them the epitome of fashion design. Oh, you haven't heard of Denim and Flower? Yeah, that's the point. They're like a Kohl's or Macy's brand, and they make these pattern button-downs that cost $10. Anyway, you can get an Hermes sweatshirt with a leather robot guy on it for some reason. Sure, at least it's an element beyond a plain sweatshirt, but it looks like they're trying to be Fendi with their monster, or even worse, Coach with their T-Rex. Just having a creature on your shirt doesn't make it interesting. You can get a knit sweater from them that has an actual design in it. But again, it seems like a ripoff of Tom Brown's 4 bars mixed with the broken diagonals that Jill Sander was doing years back. And guess what? It's twice the price of what either of those brands would charge. Anyway, Hermes menswear looks like it was made for boring millionaire grandpas to browse while their wives are off on the other side of the store begging for a Birkin. It's luxe and serviceably designed, but recalling any of their pieces is like trying to remember what you had for dinner last Tuesday. You might get lucky and remember, but odds are you won't. And that's all for the 2021 Boring Menswear Awards. Huge shoutouts to all of our winners, and let's hope that they never get their shit together so we can see them back here next year. Take a look at the other video on screen here, subscribe to my channel, like this video, and I'll see you next time.